Hey, how's it going? It's Justin McDonald here, and I'm here with you with another results replay. And is that going to be the official name for this? I don't know, but I kind of just got the idea from somebody commenting or something. It was like, why don't maybe I'll call it that. Anyways, moving on. So, do one thing at a time. This is not a official quote from any kind of book or anything, but you want to understand that it's pretty much impossible. Pretty sure it's impossible to do more than one thing at a time. Our brains aren't trained to multitask. So, if you decide to take on too many things, what happens is either the quality ends up suffering, like because you can't focus on that one thing, you get overwhelmed. These aren't good things in business and marketing. And I think I tacked down something too that Dan Kennedy said about just like humans, they can't multitask. Unless you're a juggler at a circus, right? If you're not a juggler at a circus, then how are you going to juggle all these things at once? Now, it doesn't mean don't get those 3 to 5 to 10 things or more off your to-do list done. This is just more of a reminder to break things down into more manageable chunks and try to do things one at a time versus trying to squeeze in too many things at once. Hey, why don't I take this phone call while I go do this and do that? Because something's going to suffer. It could be the phone conversation. It could be something you're even tweeting or emailing or whatever it is. You're going to end up making the kind of mistake that you're just going to wish that you were just a little bit more conscious of it. That's all I'm really trying to get at there, because I've tried to do this myself. Well, I think we've all been guilty of this. And sometimes in business too, like we try to tackle too many of the tasks that could be delegated to others or just done later, versus just doing one thing at a time. This chair's a little squeaky. I'm gonna have to put some oil on it at some point. Oh well. Now, since I started doing these, I actually have only taken one day off, and it was yesterday. And I didn't mean to, but I got so caught up with things, and I also ended up getting hired for something too. So that was kind of a big deal. And I also it is a really good opportunity. So it's nice to be able to take these things that I'm passing down to people that are watching this, but also implementing that stuff into my own life and seeing what works and trying new things and getting new opportunities and then sharing that with you. And when I can find different formulas and hacks and tricks that could give you value, I'll try to bring them on here. So, if you ever have any questions, or if you ever, have something that you'd like for me to cover or talk about on here, just leave a comment, or you can like this, or follow me, or follow my page, or whatever. So, but yeah, I just really want you to focus on one thing at a time, because you might think that you can multitask, but all you can really do is kind of shift focus on one thing to the other. But you probably just don't see this rapid shifting and movement, and it just seems like you're doing all these things at once. But unless you're literally juggling, it's how are you doing more than one thing at a time? And how is that even benefiting you? And you'll realize too, by giving things your 80, 90%, 100% attention, that you're going to get way better results than trying to do so many things at once. And I think a lot of people struggle with that too. So I'm going to probably have this be a little bit shorter than others, and it would be nice to get back to do another one later to make up for yesterday. So do you ever find yourself multitasking though, or like what people think is multitasking? And are you somebody that is like, oh no, I can multitask. I do all these, like I could do all these things and at once basically. And hey, I understand. Like your time is valuable, and you don't want to waste time, and you want to be as productive as you can. You want to make as much money as you can. But some of the best and the greatest have even said that they made. I know Russell Brunson said something about this too. They end up making like this same amount of money, or maybe even less, by like, for instance, like if you're building a business or a funnel or something, like a sales funnel, a sales process, and then you get something that's working. And then you're like, oh great, this is working. The first thing a lot of people do is they just go and start another one. They basically just go start another account, right? It's like if you were getting a bunch of Facebook or Twitter followers or LinkedIn connections, and you're like, oh yeah, this is doing great. Like I'm getting like, you know what I mean? Oh, my videos are going viral and all these things, right? And then all of a sudden you're just like, why don't I just go start another one? That one's gonna be great too, and then I'll go start another one, and then like you're gonna find that because you've like split yourself off into too many projects like that instead of focusing like on that one, that you know what I mean, like this one's getting 33% of your attention, that one's getting 34% of your attention, the other one's getting 33% of your attention, and you're not really bringing things like to their full potential when you do that. And I've made this mistake so many times. Like if you ever do a lot of writing, or if you go under different pen names, and if you do ghost writing and you get that like that sort of like imposter syndrome that sometimes like it just creeps up to everybody that is like in that kind of business. It's natural, but like it just starts like, I don't know, it just starts like not like maybe like eating away a little bit, but like at your creativity, at like at like getting to the spire, you know, where you can be inspired and have like a nice creative flow. Like all the creative juices just end up getting dried up like a sponge when you end up just like you're in a flow, you like shut it off, and then you're in a flow. It's like, you know, like think about like a child that's like playing, and you just like rip them out of their environment. Here, go play in the sandbox. Oh no, let's go over there. Let's go. And they'd be like, stop. Like, can I just play like here? You know what I mean? Like nobody wants to be just like pulled out of their environment and start over. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying it's not necessary sometimes, absolutely, but like in a very short period of time. And I know I go into a lot of tangents, but like some people, most people eventually end up like wanting to kind of put more focus on that one main idea instead of going to 10 different places. So like another business like nugget you can get out of this too is like if you're thinking about like the three core markets before they were broken down, you know, you got health, wealth, and relationships. I'm just abbreviating health, wealth, and relationships. And, you know, if you're in, let's say, the health niche, and then all of a sudden you're giving out dating advice and talk about dating stuff just randomly, and then maybe the next week you're like, oh cool, why don't I captivate the wealth audience and start talking about cryptocurrency and all this, like, you're going to confuse your market. You're going to confuse and turn off probably a lot of your followers and subscribers, because even though they might be into, like, if you're, like I said, in the health niche and you're talking about like dating stuff or relationship advice, and then you're going into cryptocurrency and stuff, like, there's a bunch of sub niches to those three main like categories, but like if you start blending in them too much like that, or just randomly shifting into the other huge markets, people just, they don't seem to connect with that. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I'm not saying you can't do all three. You absolutely can. You just want to build a different attractive character, a different persona for each one, is what I'm trying to say. Like, so like, if you were in the health niche and you wanted to do like dating stuff, or if you were wanting to do cryptocurrency, you're better off. I mean, you could create like a pen name or whatever, but you're better off just starting a whole new personality. You know what I'm saying? And then start from there. But again, if you're killing it in the health niche, or you're killing it in the dating niche, don't just jump off that ship and start. However, a little caveat to that is, what I would do is, if you are, let's say, in the dating niche and you do have this passion for health and going to the gym and all these great stories, and you're also like been dabbling in stock trading and cryptocurrency and stuff like that, now there are ways you can package that together and deliver that to the same audience. And you could also start new lists of people that are a blend of, well, they're taking care of their bodies, right? And they're into health, and they're into going to the gym and all that. There's ways you can segue that into, like, oh, here's, you know what I mean? You're bettering your body and all this. You're trying to get back into the dating game, and here's some other books or things and resources or something. Like, there are certainly ways to segue that, but I'm just saying, like, you don't want, if your like main marketing message or flagship product or flagship service is one of those three big ones, like I mentioned before, then you want to stay in that lane. But, like, you know, if you're trying to create new content and new offers, just be a little bit more creative and think it out a little bit too, because there's probably a dozen different ways to get, a lot more than that, to get people that are in your niche to also follow you on other things that you have to offer. Just make sure that you, like, make it a shift that makes sense, like, even to you. Like, if you were all of a sudden following Arnold Schwarzenegger or something, I'm just making something up, or like Chuck Norris or something, right? And then you were learning like all these like cool like health things and karate kicks and gym stuff and all this cool stuff, right? You're learning, and then all of a sudden they're just like, hey, why don't you like invest in this? Or they just start talking about, like, here's what to send your lover for Christmas. I don't know, like, you're gonna be like, what are you talking about? Like, they're just gonna throw you off. But, like, if they can inject their personality and kind of telling a story, and then like maybe like test out the audience to see if they have another list within their list, I mean, there's ways to do that. That's smart. But I just want you to just understand that if you take that philosophy and doing one thing at a time, like, you know what I mean? If you have one funnel and one business that is particularly like the breadwinner and doing like is like knocking down a lot of like dominoes and things like that, you want to put most of your focus on that. And you can also have side projects, side hustles, other multiple streams of income and stuff like that. I would always say have that. But you know what I mean? And that's enough. And to find your balance and stuff like that. But if you have like 3 things that you're trying to make your bread and butter and all those side hustles, you're gonna get way too burnt out and confused and running in different directions. It's not. I don't recommend that. So you know what I mean. Try to find like your main marketing message, your main purpose, who it is you want to serve. Don't really necessarily focus on the products or services necessarily. Like you can, but like try to work at it a little bit backwards. You know what I mean? Like take take the client, customer, prospect, or whatever, and picture them like they already have what it is that you think you're gonna offer them, but then just like go backwards from that, and then try to fill in the blanks. That's one way to do it, but again, try to stay in your lane. Try not to multitask or go into the process of trying to multitask. Get all your stuff done. You need to get it done. And if you ever want help with like balancing out a to-do list, and I like to make a to-done list, I'll tell you about it sometime. You can certainly send me a message or whatever, and I'll kind of break it down to you a little bit. But yeah, like don't try to overwhelm and do too many things at once. Write them down. If you have 20 things to do, write them all down, and then you can go back later and manage which ones you need to do first and which ones are more important, and then kind of go from there. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much for listening and or watching. You can go to results-required.com, and I have a nice little blueprint there that I'm going to start adding a few more tools to as time goes on. So bear with me. If you already got the blueprint, awesome. If not, go check it out. And I also do daily emails. I don't have like any I see these guys all the time. They got these email sequences where they're like mailing you every day these automated things. I don't do that. I don't it's not for me. So every day I'm telling a story, and I broadcast it via email, and then sometimes I'll post it on social media too. But if you want like more of these kinds of like valuable stories and things that can help you out as a content creator or an entrepreneur or a marketer, again, you'll be able to get on my list if you go there. You'll get the blueprint, and I'll fill you in on more stuff that I'm going to be giving away, and of course, like I said earlier, I can help you out with managing your time a little bit too by just tweaking like a few little things in your to-do list and make it a to-done list. So again, thanks for listening and or watching. Peace.